All right, hello. Oh, it's iPet Goat Day today. Okay, 316. I thought I'd do this a recap. I've talked about. Well, I mean, we're going around in circles with talking about dates here because you can just, a lot of these dates reoccur. Okay, but we're talking about 163 and this thing in Super Bowl. Where Madonna is on the dam with the goat headdress on. Okay, so she's like, if I've got the image up here, here we go. She's like this. Okay, this image that they shone up on the Hoover Dam with the goat on the Hoover Dam. Yeah, the greatest of all time. I don't know about Madonna being the greatest of all time, but this is kind of interesting, isn't it? So this is, again, if you go back to iPet Goat, iPet Goat, yeah, here's the goat. Okay, the iPet Goat scene with Madonna and the baby Jesus. That is, both of them are dead. Okay, i.e., they're in the Matrix, the Black Pearl. Okay, in that scene in iPet Goat, they reference the Super Bowl, and here we are at the Super Bowl here with Madonna dressed, well, with the goat headdress, climbing on the dam like the goat climbs on the dam. Yeah, the alpine goat climbing on the dam. So today's date, why that is interesting, because if we go back to this, in fact, I've got it in paint here. Let's make a little bit bigger thingy here. The date is on this, okay, and you see the 1.FC. We just convert that over to 1.63. Yeah, we just use the numerology of the gematria values for F and C. 1.63 gives us today's date. Yeah, we just write it the American way. No, write it the English way. Write it the English way. 163. Okay. Now this is pretty interesting. You see what I've got in over on the other side of here, which we're going to discuss in just a second. But I've got this number is right here as well. Okay, this is, so if we, this is our 319 when you flip it around. But if we just look at it this way around, we got 6, 1, 3. Okay, obviously, yes, I know the 3 is not the right way around. But if you kind of I don't know if I really am dyslexic, because if you're kind of dyslexic like me, that is not a big. In fact, I'll tell you something interesting. As probably one of the first things that I remember, kind of symbolism, kind of looking at symbolism backwards. In England, they've got a gas station called ESSO, and as a kid, I would always call it 3SSO. Just weird, isn't it? How you pick up on these things as a you notice those things as a kid, or you just do things wrong. Anyway, that's our 319. If we flip that around, if we flip the whole dollar bill around, it becomes 319. Okay, which is interesting because we've got, so how would I explain this? So we've got today's date, okay, and we've also got 319 coming up, okay, which again is, I'm going to show you some tie-ins with 319 and all this stuff, okay. One more thing, right, before I get off of it, right, in the hoverboard scene in Back to the Future, the hoverboard scene, Marty is in the diner and they taunt, Griff's gang taunts Marty with the "Are you chicken?" Okay, and remember that Madonna's surname is Ciccone. Okay, so they do that, and then when the baddies go outside, one of them is actually dressed up, with a goat hat on, and they also have the goat. I don't know what you call it with a goat. It's not a bleat, but it's like a. a funny whatever the sound a goat makes is. I should probably know that being a farmer, but whatever sound a goat makes, that kind of funny bleat sound is right when the baddies go to chase Marty on the hoverboard. Okay, so there's this connection with that hoverboard scene in Back to the Future as well, to the chicken and the goat. Okay, right. One more other interesting thing before I forget about this as well. If we do 163 times 2, okay, that is going to be, hang on, let me put it in the calculator. 163, well, I don't get it wrong way around, times 2 equals 326. Don't know why I needed the calculator for that actually, but 326 is this is how old the Hoover Dam is. I'm going to say not right now, because at the beginning of the year anyway, it was this. Well, I say pre-beginning of the year, okay? So the first day of the year was 32600, actually 01. So this was New Year's Eve. The Hoover Dam synchronized with the 326, okay? This is super important. Shows up a ton. Shows up an absolute ton. So this is really interesting that 2 times 163 gives us this number. Okay, right. With all that being done, let's go through some number jumps and some other interesting stuff. So the first thing I want to do is let's just look at this symbolism here, this logo. Okay, so we've got the Twin Towers in there. We've got Colne, which if you say it the English way, clone. Okay, the smelly stuff you might wear, or the idea of a copy. Yeah, clone. Right, 163, and then we've got this red and white sort of no entry sign, if you like, or a sort of stop sign, or I don't know what to say, but it's a sort of do not do sign. Yeah, like the no smoking sign that that you see on a plane, and then that looks like one of the twin towers on fire. Anyway, if we just look at this, you probably saw it while I was scanning through the Hoover logo. Okay, that's what that is. That's what that references, I'm sure, or at least that's how it's supposed to tie back. Also, notice so we've got the Hoover Dam, the Hoover logo. This is the vacuum cleaner company. Yeah, when you're in the dam, you're in the vacuum of space, in the black hole. Yeah, nothing there. Okay, the vacuum. Notice that this also has, in Back to the Future, the fire trail. Yeah, the H makes this fire trail. Okay, and the line where the lightning comes down. Okay, I hope you can see my cursor, but that's what that is, in my mind anyway, is the fire trail with the wire coming across. This is all in my back catalogue. I'm just, some of this stuff new people won't have seen in my back catalogue, so I just try to bring people up to speed a little bit on it. But again, we see this repeat, this idea here with the green now, but the same kind of logo repeated with Zoran. Yeah, A View to a Kill, and there's a ton of references in that film to this potential event at the Hoover Dam. Okay, and again, we have little links back to Madonna with that film as well. Okay, too much to go through right now, but I just, every once in a while I mention that, and so people know what I'm on about. Okay, but again, let's go look at this now in the actual film clip. Where have I got it? Well, I had it up here because I want to show you this, because if you stop this right at the right place, it becomes very interesting, right? So this is where Marty makes his first leap home from the clock tower. And if we look at the clock tower, I might have that number jump up here actually. Where is it? Let's look at it really quickly. Oh dear, let's click on it, right? So we're at the clock tower here. I'm going to show you how this ties back in just a second. But there's the 10:04 that's on the clock tower, okay? The 10:04 that we convert to October the 4th. I've got this in here written the wrong way around, but we're going from 2024, last year, 1004, through to 316 is 163 days. Okay, 163. Okay, from the 1004, from when the clock tower stops. Now, let me show you something, because it's a little hidden in here, how you get to that. And actually, it's, I don't know. Let me just show you what I got. Okay, so the clock tower's stopping at 1004. We got the 911, the Western Auto sign with the 11. Okay. Then what we've got is Doc's car is a Packard 8. Okay, so we have this 8 reference here with the car, which gives us 811 here. Okay, and I'm going to show you why 811 is super important, as a reference back to 49, and also a reference back to 1114 in just a second. Okay. So what we have is the 811 in here, the symbol for pi again, and we also have, I've just stopped it at just the right point here, and it's interesting that we have these little gaps in the fire here, you know, because with these little gaps, we spell out another number here, which is the number 9 up here and the number 4 right here. Okay, so 49, which is the next big day for the Hoover Dam coming up, is in here as well. I just wanted to show you that while I was on the subject, and we'll go back to the 811 and why that references back to 1.63. Okay, today's date. One other thing, what was I just about to say? Oh well, yeah, the Hoover sign, yeah, the H, the fire trails with the line going across it. Okay, so where was I at? Oh, gosh, go back to the Future. Okay, so what I want to do now is go from this car, which is 811. Well, I'll just write it in here actually. So let's get rid of some of this jazz. Let me show you this. Okay, so if you watch my channel regularly, you will know that the center of the chart of Lorraine, which is all to do with Back to the Future. In fact, I think we're kind of done with this stuff right now. Do I need to save that? No, I don't think we need to come back to this. Okay, if we do, I've got the tabs up for these 2 items. But remember, this flips to 319 when we flip this around. Okay, because we're going to come on to that number jump in a minute. Okay, but let's go to the chart of Lorraine, right? And the center of the chart of Lorraine is 1118, right? And if I divide, well, I want to divide, hang on a minute, I want to divide 18 divided by 11, well, okay, divided by 11 equals, I don't know if I've written that around the right way there, 18 divided by 11 equals 1.6363, and that goes on forever, you know, so just put your reoccurring marks in there, because that just repeats over and over and over again. So 1.63 is a direct reference to the center of this table, because all these numbers, when you divide, you know, this number by this number, is going to give you an approximation of pi. Divide this number by this number is going to give you an approximation, not pi, of phi. That's important because that's the golden ratio. I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a lot of references to gold lately. I did that Fort Knox reference, you know, and this idea of referencing back to gold, and obviously Madonna comes in wearing, you know, in a halftime thing, she's got the gold on there, the gold and black. Okay, so highlighting the color gold there. So this is important, right? And also, I don't usually have the row in here, but if you put the 4 row in, right, when we get to 4, 9, the number that we have in the table is 118. Okay, you know, this is just an abbreviation of this number essentially. Okay, or we can, we can even pinch just one off of there and have the 118 right here at the center of the table still. Okay, this is important. So this is referencing back to 49118, and it's also referencing to today's date because it's the 16th. It's 163 today. Okay. Anyway, so that's how that ties back into Back to the Future. And also notice that the chart of Lane is super important with the idea of Back to the Future, because this forms a tower, this forms a tower. I've shown you before, and what we end up with at the bottom is the 55 and 88, okay? Which again is either side of the dam fold, in the dollar bill with Washington's head sticking up here, We've got the necktie that comes down, and each side of that is 85 and 85 in leaves and berries on the dollar bill that we use right now, okay? So this is all important stuff. I know this doesn't make much sense to people that are just new here clicking on this or haven't watched a lot of my other videos, but this is the Twin Towers with the 8855 at the bottom of here. This is kind of why this became so interesting with Back to the Future. And again, if you've not seen my other decodes with this chart of Lorraine and Back to the Future, you can draw the clock tower in here very quickly. The clock tower, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 towers, 4 pillars at the clock tower, yeah, in Back to the Future. The clock stops at 10:04. This is the clock, yeah, 10:04, 14 here. And the lightning comes down, which is a stylized 55, hits the top of the clock tower, flows through the line, which is 911 right here, comes through over to the lamppost, and in fact the lamppost that's right here, right above it, is the Western Auto sign. If you look at the Fibonacci sequence, actually this 0, when you repeat the sequence, would be actually a 9, which is the Western Auto sign sitting on the side of the thing. Then we also have the symbol for pi formed, okay. What else do we have? We have the 11 here, which becomes the fire trails coming through the electrical line that comes over to the lamppost here. So we have all of this symbolism, yeah, is in this table for some crazy reason, with Back to the Future, okay. Anyway, let me crack on because I want to get this finished, because I got kids that are going to be mobbing me here in about 2 seconds. Let's just do a couple of interesting number jumps. So the first thing is, when did they put this on the Hoover Dam? May the 8th. Let's find that. May the 8th. I've got this number jump in here somewhere. So that was the 10:04 through to the 16th was 163, and that's the clock tower number, okay. Then we've got, I don't want to do this one yet. We'll come back to that. Then we've got, we don't want to do that one either. What's this one? Here it is. So this is when they actually shone the symbol up on the dam, okay? The goat symbol, okay? The Colne FC symbol. The 8th of May, 2015, through to today's date, look at it. 361, okay? 163 in reverse, okay? So that's crazy. Then if we go to, what was my other date I wanted to look at? Then if we go to 5/5, which was the day that they did, so that whole sequence, that whole thing with Colne FC tied back to a Freightliner event where they did a kind of launch of a new Freightliner truck, okay? A big semi-articulated tractor-trailer truck, okay? They did that on the 5th, on 5/5. This is a number that shows up in the dollar bill, and obviously 55 is very important again with the tower there in the chart of Lorraine and Back to the Future. That then takes us through, if we do the number jump just from 5/5, okay, that takes us through to 319, okay. I didn't go back to the year. We could just drop back to the year and see what it is. Okay, but just bear in mind, including the end date, that's 319, taking us to 319, okay? If we drop back to 2015, let's just look at it real quick. 366, okay, through to the 319. But no, anyway, those are the numbers there, okay. But I wanted to show you that it was 319 through to 319 with the Freightliner, because I just, while I'm on that subject, getting sidetracked again, let me just show you this clip. This is Tank Girl. In this film, there's a lot of references to the Hoover Dam, the idea of the Hoover Dam. They're in the desert. Yeah, that's where the Hoover Dam is. It's about the control of water. In fact, you can see this on YouTube for free right now, so spoiler alert, but it's not that great of a film. But they're in the desert. There's this fight over the supply of water, yeah? Okay, just like the link with the Hoover Dam and the supply of water, okay? In this film, it's absolutely loaded, but in this film, let's just click on forward to here just a little bit. Let's see if this is the Tank Girl, and this is, I forget her name now, actually, the actress's name. But anyway, she's playing a role that reminds me of the role that Madonna plays in Who's That Girl. There's a connection to the cartoon, the voice of this gal, the hair color. There's a lot of connections to the character in Who's That Girl, the film that Madonna plays, and this character in the film, okay? But anyway, she is about to go off with a semi-truck off. Look at this with the Twin Towers here, or the Hoover Dam, reference to the concrete wall of water coming over it. She is about to go off the edge of this cliff. There she is. She's trying to save the trailer that's on the back. Oh dear. And hang on a minute. Do we see there's the edge of the cliff. Anyway, there she is. And come on. Of course, I can't get to the blooming point where and I'll tell you the other thing is they have these kangaroo type creatures in this thing that are reminiscent of a bunny rabbit again, or the rabbit that's in Donnie Darko, Frank. Okay, anyway, this semi-truck is going to go off of the edge of the cliff here, okay? So this references back to the whole Freightliner thing in, I wish I could just play the scene, but the last time I did that, man, they pulled the copyright card on me, and I don't want to get a copyright where the video is going to get took down. Anyway, this thing goes off the cliff, okay? Smashes at the bottom. And these are the characters with these funny ears, these supposedly kangaroo creatures, okay? But it did remind me of the bunny rabbit in Donnie Darko, and we'll come on to a number jump there. But there's this connection back, and obviously Tank Girl connects us back with GoldenEye, the film. There's this reference to the tank and the train, which both references back to Madonna with the 62, and also there's a reference in that scene to Boy Toy, and that ties back in with Madonna again, okay? So there's tons of little references that tie back on each other, okay? Anyway, let's do the rest of these numbers now, because now I've mentioned Donnie Darko, we will do a Donnie Darko number jump as well. So anyway, here is the Donnie Darko number jump. This is what's his name's birthday, Jake Gyllenhaal. So from his birthday through to 319, you'll see it's his perfect palindromic number here, 16161. Okay, the first three digits of the golden ratio is 161. Okay, and we're coming through to this 319 date that is on that dollar bill. This is super duper interesting. Okay, if we click back a couple of days, not so interesting. Okay, but the fact that it comes out at the golden ratio at this particular date, and we have 44 years 90 days, which is 49 referenced with Jake Gyllenhaal, Donnie Darko, and he is absolutely loaded, absolutely loaded. The only reason why I was thinking about this is because they just did that rocket launch it was on Pi Day, wasn't it? And I was just thinking about Jake Gyllenhaal with that one film where he's got the sending up the rockets. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, what other stuff we got here? We did that. That's blank. This is kind of interesting. This is right. So this is another interesting connection back to Tank Girl now. In Tank Girl, okay, it's Laurie Petty. That was her name. And her birthday. What's interesting about her birthday is she's got the October 14th when Madonna did her tour, started her tour, and she's born in '63 as well, which is well interesting. And we had the connection back with this tour. The start of the tour date is the eclipse reference that is also on that day, which ties in with the number 44, ties to the 326. Those two dates synchronize at New Year's Eve. Yeah, 444 and the 326, and that's what's interesting about this October 14th date for her. So not only that, but the antagonist in this film is good old Malcolm McDowell, right? And he is a 163 or 613, and so he's got that numerology in his birthday, which is pretty darn interesting. And that was this number jump here, was his birthday through to this day. Nothing on the surface that looks particularly interesting until you click on and find that it's a prime number. Nothing super interesting further on than that. Okay, and there's probably, I could, I don't know, I just thought it was marginally interesting that it's coming out at a prime number, because a lot of the time you don't land on a prime number when you do those number jumps. Okay, this was the release of the film, which again on the surface is nothing majorly interesting. It is kind of interesting if you include the end date, because we have that 944, the Porsche 944, the 944, which we just had with Jake Gyllenhaal with the 44 90 days. Okay, so that's kind of interesting on the end of the number here. But this is the release of the film. Nothing super duper interesting. Nothing super duper interesting here until you see the composite number, which is 9613, which has got our 613, which is flipping to 913 or 319. So that then became interesting looking to me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's got that. You click that, and then all of a sudden you're back to Madonna numerology and the 118 in here. So it's just like the 186, the 618 with her birthday, 816, sorry, with her birthday. So that became kind of interesting as well. Was there anything else in here that we had that was interesting? So in that film we have Naomi Watts as well as one of the main characters, kind of her twin character, which ties back in with Desperately Seeking Susan a little bit. But what's interesting about it is her birthday through to 316. Now we've got the 623 referenced, okay, on the end of this, the 20,623, which is again interesting with the synchronicity with the Hoover Dam right now with 326. Okay, and let's remember that 94 is going to be 326.99. Is going to be the last day that we're on 326 for the Hoover Dam, if that makes sense to people. Did I have anything else I wanted to mention in here? I think I've done it all. Yeah, no, there's nothing else. I'm sure I probably missed some interesting stuff off of there, but there was a couple interesting number jumps. This Tank Girl thing connecting back in to the Hoover Dam via the Colne FC logo event, so it's just super duper interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Today's date, I don't know, it's definitely interesting for Madonna today. And the 19th now is also pretty darned interesting. I didn't even do the number jump through from Madonna's birthday. We could just do that really quickly just on the end of the video. Here's a blank canvas. 16, 24 through to 12. That's kind of interesting. Not super duper interesting, but kind of interesting. And well, there you go. That's what you got to see. Let's just do the whole number jump real quick as well. Warriors, might as well do it. There it is. 316 got the 319 in the end of it. That's kind of interesting. Anything interesting about that? No. It finally jumps back to a prime number, but again, I'm not seeing anything majorly crazy there. Somebody else might, but it does have the 319 on the end of it. That's just kind of crazy. Alright, well, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on another video soon. Alright, cheers. Bye.